Okay, now before I jump into this, I'm just going to go and put up a disclaimer right now. If you're the type of person who is easily upset by people shitting all over Dragon Ball Super, I recommend you walk the fuck out of this video right now. And by walk the fuck out, I mean you close the tab and, watch another video. You're not going to want to watch this one because I'm about to unload some hell. Also, if you're going to go into the comment section and, call me names and tell me I'm fucking stupid and try to defend this shit, I'm just going to tell you to get fucked. In fact, I'm not even going to write get fucked. In fact, just pretend that in the comment, right underneath yours, is a comment by me that says get fucked. Because that's going to be my response to you. Get fucked. Now that I've got that out of the way, hopefully all the little pussies have, abandoned this video, so I don't hurt the goddamn feelings. Episode 30 of Dragon Ball Super was a fucking clip show. It was a goddamn clip show. If those don't know what the fuck a clip show is, it is where they take clips from previous episodes and just kind of do flashbacks and just do that throughout the majority of the episode, sometimes the entirety of an episode, and they just did that. Yeah, and the worst part is, what they were recapping was the last 2 episodes. The first half is Goku and Vegeta talking to Kuririn, and they're explaining the whole Universe 6 tournament. And it just flashes back, and just shows us all these scenes that we've already goddamn seen from the last 2 episodes. This is fucking absurd. This is not how you do a goddamn recap episode. And I'm not horribly against recap episodes. I think they have their place. They can serve a purpose. And you can do good things with them. This was bullshit. Who the fuck recaps an episode that we just saw? Who? Why? I don't even... Dragon Ball as a franchise has had 2 recap episodes. One in Dragon Ball Z, where the Muten Roshi was talking to Marin, blue-haired, big-titted Marin, not Kuririn's daughter, Marin. No, he was telling her about the Red Ribbon Army. Flashing back, showing Goku fighting, all the different factions and going up against Mercenary Tao. And that had a purpose. That made sense. That arc happened 5 years prior? So of course, you're gonna want to recap that, considering, there may have been fans of Dragon Ball Z at that point that hadn't even fucking been born when that arc came out. So yeah, you might want to catch them up. Or maybe just people who had missed it in general. Whatever. Still, it had been years. The new arc was very heavily based on that. So of course you want to, recap that for them. It wasn't even that big of a recap either. The other major recap in the series was in Dragon Ball GT. And it's a big it's basically, just Vegeta monologuing. And it is basically, it's Vegeta from the Saiyan arc all the way to him now in GT. And it just kind of covers his entire character arc that he had gone through. And him just kind of, expressing himself. And it is a superfluous episode. You don't really need it. But it is kind of a nice, it's showing a through line between, all of these episodes, the journey that Vegeta had been on. Like I said, superfluous episode, but at least it wasn't recapping something I had seen 1 episode prior. It wasn't oh, well, let me just go ahead and recap the last 2 episodes of Dragon Ball GT of Goku fighting these dragons that you just goddamn saw. Ugh! Like I said, bullshit. But they don't just recap the last 2 episodes. Of course, that's only the first half of the episode. We also get some recap footage from Kai, where they're showing Majin Buu, that fight for some goddamn reason. We get a tiny little flashback to the Battle of Gods arc, a tiny little flashback to the Fukkatsu no F arc. It's just a big old flashback fest. Fuck it. Who cares anymore? Just flash back to everything. We don't need original content. Fuck it. Just keep recycling footage. This is absolutely the laziest bullshit I have seen. I understand that, sometimes you're running low on time. I understand the shit that goes on in the anime industry. I'm not fucking ignorant of this. But if you're going to make a recap episode, make it fucking interesting. Make it good. Like I said, that GT one, It wasn't a great episode, but like I said, it had a thematic through line through it. It was encapsulating Vegeta's entire character arc. You could have done something similar to that. You could have tracked Goku's growth as a character. Goku and Kuririn could have just been hanging out, shooting the shit, and they could have been talking about how far Goku had come from Dragon Ball to this point in Super, and just kind of encapsulating Goku's journey as a man or as a person. No, none of that shit. Now we'll just talk about what happened in the last few episodes and some episodes before that. Cause fuck it, they're kids. Kids are stupid. Kids will watch anything. Fucking retarded kids. And the worst part is that the flashbacks aren't even the only problem I have with this. I mean, the flashbacks are fucking atrocious. They are, without a fucking doubt. They are goddamn fucking horrible. But the original content that we get, when they're actually, deciding to dedicate a minute here or there to actually, developing the story that they're supposed to be developing on, even that has its fucking issues, which is amazing because there's only maybe 8 minutes, 9 minutes total of original content, probably closer to 8 minutes of original content in this entire episode, and even that they somehow fuck up. First off, Goku brings up Oob. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh man, they're referencing Oob. That's so exciting. It's a callback. Well, the problem is here is that he's telling this to Vegeta. He's telling all this to Vegeta. This is pretty much the exact same conversation that they had at the 28 Tenkaichi Budokai. Where Goku explains the whole thing. Oh yeah, that's the reincarnation of Majin Buu. And, he's just as equal. Now it doesn't even make sense in the context of the 10-year time jump when he fucking explains to it, and Vegeta's just what? There's a guy, there's a human who's strong enough to compete with us? I don't fucking believe you. What? This kid? Really? He's the reincarnation of Majin Buu? No way. It's why the fuck is Vegeta questioning all of this? Why the hell is Goku telling him all this fucking information now if he had told him 5 years prior? Really? So yeah, they completely fucked that up. I get they're trying to make this cute little callback, look, we're referencing, things that's gonna happen in the future, even though we're completely fucking it up and just fucking the continuity right up its ass, because who needs continuity in a continuity-driven series? I sure as shit don't. Then we get Goten and Trunks, and what do you know? They're still the exact same fucking height. I mean, yeah, at this point, Trunks is the same age, if not older, than what he was in the Trunks special. And he's still that height. Like I said, you can make an argument for Goten. Maybe you can say oh, well, maybe he's just, he's developed slowly, blah, 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 who gives a shit. Trunks, we know for a fact, had a normal age development, unless you're going to say oh, well, they fucked with the timeline, so, maybe it fucked with his DNA, even though he looks fucking identical to his future counterpart. Whatever, god damn. Why aren't they aging? Why? Why can't you draw them older? Why won't Toriyama do this? Why won't Toei commission him to do character designs? Why won't anyone take the initiative to make them goddamn older? Why the fuck are they still kids? I don't get it. And I don't like it. One of the things I've always loved about Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z is that you get to see the characters age and develop. You get to see them go on this progressive, thing of just transitioning into manhood. And with Goten and Trunks, we just kind of skip that. We see Trunks as a baby, we see him as a kid, we see him as an adult. Goten, we see him as a kid, we see him as an adult. We don't get to see, that progression in them. And now we have the opportunity to with this new arc, and they're just not doing it. They're just not. At all. And I don't get it. I mean, Gohan, even, people want to point to, Goku didn't change that much in Dragon Ball. He pretty much goes from, a little midget to a full-fledged man. Fucking bullshit. Goku fucking aged and developed. He did grow. He, you can see, from the 21st tournament to the 22nd tournament, there is a notable height difference there. Also, by the 23rd tournament, he wasn't even done growing. He was about the height of Bulma, maybe a little shorter, maybe a little taller. He's about Bulma's height, which is still fairly short for a guy. By the time you get to Dragon Ball Z, he's tall enough to where, like, Bulma comes up to his shoulder. He's about the same height as Yamcha. So, you know, Goku does go through a full development cycle. We get to see Goku age. We're not seeing Goten and Trunks age at all. Hell, I think Goten may actually be fucking shorter than he was in the Majin Buu arc, and that in itself is fucking irritating. So, yeah. Ending that rant... Then they talk about the Room of Spirit and Time has been fixed, because currently they're going to go train in the Room of Spirit and Time for 3 years, or 3 days, which will equate 3 years before this new tournament, you know, try to get their power up and shit. I have a few problems with this, because, you know, people are like, oh, well, they fixed, you know, the Room of Spirit and Time. That's fine. They're explaining that the Room of Spirit and Time door has been fixed, you know, because Piccolo blew it up. Of course, it needs to be fixed. Dende fixes it. That's cool. But, where I started having issues is, they've already trained, or Vegeta's already trained in it for 2 years, and Goku says, you can only train in the Room of Spirit Time for 2 years. And I've heard a lot of people say, like, oh, well, you know, Dende fixed it to where they don't have, or they don't have that limitation anymore. That's not the line. That's not what they're saying. You're making shit up. The actual, all they said is that Dende is fixing the Room of Spirit and Time, as in, they're fixing the broken fucking door that Piccolo blew up. You know, they're making it accessible again. It's a whole fucking dimension. Like, the whole thing is, like, if you spend more than 2 days in there, the door disappears and you're stuck. That is how the Room of Spirit and Time works. You know, they established this. But now they're just going to change it. And the thing is, though, like, I wouldn't even mind if they changed it and they said, like, oh, well, Dende's augmenting it. Because all you really need is just one line from Vegeta going, wait, I thought we can't spend more time in there. And Goku saying, oh, well, Dende's augmenting the room, so that way, you know, we can train in there longer. Okay, fine. You know, that would have been alright, but they didn't do that. Instead, they just, you know, said Dende's fixing it, and then dropped it, and that was it. So yeah, that doesn't make fucking sense. Also, the fact that Goku is the one recommending, yeah, we're gonna train in the Room of Spirit and Time, we should totally do that. Wasn't Goku the one that says, like, oh, well, that's not really training, you know, that's just torture on your body, you shouldn't use the Room of Spirit and Time. Fucking, does Goku's character have any goddamn consistency anymore? Like it's so fucking flip-flopped around and shit, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. I can understand if Vegeta wanted to do this, but Goku doesn't make quite as much sense. And then you had this bullshit line of from Vegeta saying, like, well, we've almost hit the limits of our power, so even training, we're not going to get that much stronger. Fucking Vegeta, of all people, is going to say this. He's going to say they have reached near the limits of their power. How the fuck do you know what the hell the limits of your power was? Yeah, because, you know, Vegeta's whole character's always been around surpassing the limits. You know, there is no limit to power. You just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And now, all of a sudden, Vegeta's like, well, we've almost hit our limit. So now Saiyans have limits. Now the characters have limits. So what? Like, after this arc, that's it? They've peaked? So if they ever bump into someone stronger, that's it? They can't surpass that character? I don't... Yeah, it's frustrating. I didn't like that line either, obviously. It's really starting to piss me off, just some of the random shit that they just keep having these characters say for, really just for the sake of contrivance, because I think they're just trying to, like, oh, well, they're getting stronger, but, like, we can't get them, like, stronger than Beers, or we can't... Yeah, I think that's really what that line is. It is a fucking safety net, so that when they come out of the damn Room of Spirit Time, and they're still weaker than Champa and Beers, they're gonna have the excuse of, well, they've already hit the limits of their power, they're so close to the limits of their power that training just isn't enough anymore. Like, they have to train super, super hard to get, you know, that last little bit of power to surpass them. And that's kind of bullshit. That is a bullshit excuse. Also, in the realm of things that are kind of bullshit, Piccolo isn't going to be doing any kind of special training. All he says is that, like, oh, I'm just going to meditate and stuff. Like, I can't keep up with you Saiyans, you know, you guys got to kick the shit out of me. So I'm just going to do my meditating thing for the next 3 days, and then I'll join into the tournament. Okay. What fucking, you know, purpose is Piccolo here to serve now? He's fucking cannon. He's cannon fodder. That's all he is. He is there to do the job. He's gonna show up, get the shit kicked out of him. Sorry, Quinn. It's gonna happen. Piccolo's gonna be a bitch in this arc, you know, because he can't keep up. You know, he isn't even as strong as Super Saiyan Gohan. He isn't. Like, we learned this fact in the last arc. A Gohan who hasn't even been fucking training, Piccolo is weaker than. Still. Alright. And now he's gonna meditate for 3 days and apparently be like more powerful enough to even compete on a near even level. And you have like Majin Buu, who isn't even on their tier, and Piccolo isn't even on fucking Majin Buu's tier. Majin Buu could just fucking rip Piccolo a new asshole. And wait, do Namekians have assholes? You know, fuck it. This is not the time for Namekian anatomy. This is the time for bitching about this goddamn horrible fucking episode and all of its stupid bullshit. So, yeah, Piccolo being there, he's gonna be fucking cannon fodder. Like, that's all he's there for. You know, people who are wanting Piccolo to have, like, a cool fight and shit, you're gonna be disappointed. Or they're just gonna put him up against some guy that's weak, and you're gonna get a Piccolo fight, but it's gonna be a pretty fucking meaningless Piccolo fight. Because let's be honest, you know, any opponent that Piccolo goes up against, that means Goku or Vegeta in their base forms could have walked up and just taken out with a single poke of the finger. Or just pushing their hand and knocking them out of the ring with a gust of wind. That's all it's going to take for them. That's how fucking low on the totem pole Piccolo is right now. That's how weak. And we're expected to believe that, like, he's somehow going to be competitive in this. And if he is competitive, I'm going to be even more pissed. Because that's not going to make any goddamn sense. So, yeah. Just stupid shit. There's the Gohan thing, too, that people are really upset about. I'm fine with it. That's Gohan's character. You know, people want, like, oh, it's bullshit, Gohan isn't gonna be in the tournament. He has to attend some stupid meeting thing. Fucking Gohan. Still not, like, training and fighting like you're supposed to. It's like, no, okay? He even rationalizes it. Like, Gohan, yeah, he wants to train. He wants to get stronger. He also has to provide for his family. That's Gohan, guys. That is current Gohan. Fucking deal with it. He has responsibilities. Unlike Goku, who's kind of the shittiest dad ever. It's okay. Alright? It's okay. Gohan's gonna be alright. Whether he's, you know, being a badass competing in tournaments, or he's training really hard to keep up, while also trying to provide for his family on the side. You know, whichever, whatever, man. Like, that is Gohan. I'm cool with it. Also, some other things I'm actually really cool with. This episode wasn't a complete and utter fucking failure. It had a couple of good marks worth noting. One, I really like the scene where they blatantly just outright said that Goku lied to Chi-Chi. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going on a picnic with beers in space. I'm gonna be gone for a few days. It's like, and she believes it. Like, it's terrible that he's lying to his wife because, you know, Goku's worst husband ever. But it is kind of funny that he straight up fucking lies to her with the stupidest fucking excuse ever. It kind of just goes to show that Chi-Chi is very gullible and dim-witted sometimes. Okay, she's kind of dim-witted a lot of times. But, you know, the fact that she's like, oh yeah, okay, have a nice picnic with beers and God of Destruction, and I hope you have fun. You know, and honestly, I wonder, like how dumb that makes Chi-Chi, though, because Kuririn fell for the exact same thing, and so did 18. So, I don't know. Like, maybe in Dragon Ball world, like, that was a really believable excuse, and Chi-Chi isn't dumb as a box of rocks. But, you know, I liked that scene. It's a very short scene. I liked it. Also, I love the little scene with Majin Buu and Mr. Satan where Majin Buu says, oh, well, I can wish for anything I want. Sure, I'll compete. And I want to give the wish to Mr. Satan because Mr. Satan has done so much for me. I want to give back to him. That was a fantastic scene. I love that scene so much because one of the things I haven't really been liking about Super is because I love the character dynamics and how they interact, but one dynamic I haven't been really liking so much is Majin Buu and Mr. Satan. Like, they really haven't been showing that close connection that those two characters have, that they really care about each other, because Majin Buu's been kind of a dick to him. Like, you know, you kind of feel like, you know, Mr. Satan feels like more like he's like a servant to Buu, and not actually, you know, Boo's, you know, best friend. Like, they share like a personal bond with one another. And this was the first time I really felt that in that series. Like, that was a genuine, heartwarming 30 seconds of this episode, and after that 30 seconds, it was over, and it returned to shit, because the rest of this episode's shit, and two really great scenes are not gonna fucking save this episode. This was, by far, the worst episode of Dragon Ball Super, and I'm gonna go ahead and state for the record, this is, by far, the worst episode of Dragon Ball anything. Fuck this episode. Fuck Toei, fuck the people who are inevitably going to defend this bullshit, and you know what, most of all, fuck me, because I was stupid enough to put faith in this fucking series. I've learned a valuable lesson. Fuck.